Cinephiles, film enthusiasts, and relaxation seekers. My name is Cinephile ASMR, and today we are talking about M. Night Shyamalan's newest film, Knock at the Cabin. Following a family as they decide to spend their vacation at a remote cabin, everything is going so well until 4 strangers show up at their doorstep asking to come in. And when the family denies that, they make their presence known and tell the family, once they've handcuffed, tied them up, that they have to sacrifice one of their own in order to prevent the apocalypse. It's a very, very straightforward plot, a home invasion film on the surface, but beneath it is a lot of the M. Night Shyamalanistic tones and ideas that has made him what I love as a filmmaker. Now, for many of you who may not know, I love M. Night Shyamalan. I will walk through fire with that man, from his ideas to his mind to the way that he presents everything to just him as a person. I know that a lot of people have many critical things to say about him, and I will agree. The beginning of his career, whether it be Signs, which is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film, Unbreakable, even The Village, was great to me. But then he started to really tip off with The Happening, Lady in the Water, The Last Airbender, After Earth, and I definitely feel that for many, that really solidified what their opinion on him was. But for me, the M. Night Shyamalan that I've been so fascinated by was with his last 5-year filmography. With The Visit, he mortgaged his own house to finance it, and that movie made millions. And then he went and made Split, then Glass, then Old, and now this. But he's put himself in these situations where he's financed every project that is unheard of. And on top of that, he's a family man. He's a man of very big spirituality, and I've had nothing but profound respect for him. And I think to jump into Knock at the Cabin, the movie that I was most looking forward to this year, and I know that might come as a surprise, but the marketing was phenomenal. The idea, the trailers, I was sold. And I think my biggest takeaway is that this is a very straightforward plot, but also a very straightforward film if you let it. I came out of the theater last night and I liked it. I really did. There was things that I loved, but I felt perhaps the finale to the film, and maybe this is my fault, going into a Shyamalan film expecting twists and turns, but it plays a lot straighter if you let it. And I started to think about it. I started to peel back the layers, the meaning, the whole point to it all. And I really liked this. I'm not going to say I loved it, but I very much have a profound respect for the project and what it aims to achieve. To really start it off, the performances, this entire cast is A1. I mean, you have Jonathan Groff as this very calm, cool-headed part of this family. He likes to look at things pragmatically, as he does in this situation. He tries to level with these strangers. But for me, the best part about that family was the other husband, played by Ben Aldridge, who I'd never seen before. He is a very hot-tempered, physical person who wants to protect his family in any way he can. He tries to rationalize with these people, tries to rationalize with everything that's going on, and it leads to a lot of great moments, because in a lot of ways, you have no idea whether these strangers are legitimate in their words. You can only base it off of what is going on in this cabin, as it's where the whole film takes place for the most part. I will say this, I think this is by far M. Night's tightest film and is most emotionally endearing, because it is intercut, whether it is going on in the cabin or what you're seeing in the world itself. It is cut between the past of this couple, and you really see the tribulations that they've gone through to get to the point where they are. They're a very flawed group, but their love perseveres, and when they adopt their daughter, it just is the sequence of events that makes you so endeared to them, along with some brilliant performances, especially from the first-time actress who plays the daughter. I forget her name, but she's so good. And I mean, you cannot talk about the performances without noting Dave Bautista, who I think went from wrestler turned actor. He's the best that there comes. Where I feel like so much of the roles that these wrestlers have gotten is because of their physicality first and their acting second. This is easily acting first, and it plays on the physicality of his role, but it makes his performance so soft. And what I think works so well is the confrontation that happens, because all of these strangers have something worth fighting for. It's not just they saw a vision and they feel and need to go about it, but there is all, whether it be family, lifestyle, people around them, there is something that they're fighting for, and it humanizes everybody in a very short runtime, might I add. Again, this is like 90 minutes, but it does a lot of legwork to get to that point, and it is so white-knuckled intense. Imagine you are setting a whole film in a cabin, and I think the one thing that took me by surprise the most was the visual language of this movie. I mean, it is no secret that M. Night really cares about the visuals, the camera work, and how it impacts the story, but I might make the statement that this is his best shot film to date. There is moments like there's a shot mounted on someone's back as they are getting beaten up, and they're moving left to right, and the camera is just stuck on them, and I'm thinking to myself, it is this sort of reinvention and growth for the camera as a character in itself that makes M. Night the best there is. And I mean, you can talk about his scripts, his stories, his twists not working, but you cannot tell me that the man is an original. And again, I think this is like the only thing he's ever adapted. I could be totally wrong, but this isn't just an original screenplay, it's an adaptation, and I think that really works, because a movie like Old, a film that I very much love, is wild, it is unhinged, but this movie is very much grounded to the point where you only have the people's words to base things off of, and it works. The acting as well really pairs well with the camera work to make this an experience that I loved. Now, I don't think it is perfect. It took me some time to make this video because I kept thinking to myself, what didn't I like? There was this thing that I felt like I was missing, and I will say I think the last half of the movie sort of tapers off in a couple ways, and the ending definitely unwrites a lot of what you would expect from a Shyamalan film. But I have to give it credit. I mean, Shyamalan is a very spiritually charged filmmaker. He tackles different ideologies from his own, but he gives it such respect, and I think this movie is very spiritually infused, not just on religious purposes, but in a time where we need it most. It talks about sacrifice, it talks about the power that we give ideologies, but it gives you a lot to deal with. And again, for some, I feel maybe perhaps there is no grandiose twist, but it very much ends in a way that maybe you weren't expecting, or it plays it a bit too straight for you, might wind up being a fault of the movie. But I think if you give it some time to process with the amazing acting, the ensemble, the camera work, the tension, the beautiful shots, and I mean, this might be one of my all-time favorite M. Night shot films. It really comes well by the end, and it did hit me in a way that I was not expecting. So with all that being said, even though I do feel it tapers off in the last half, I gotta give Knock at the Cabin a B+. I'm so curious to hear what you guys thought of this movie. Again, it was my most anticipated film, and I'm not going to say it disappointed me, but it subverted my expectations in a lot of ways. But my god, Dave Bautista, he is going to have such a bright career. It was a really, really great movie, and I know that this was an adaptation, and I've heard what the original book was. I think the movie does it so much better. So much better. But again, do your own research, guys. I promise, if you see this movie and you feel a little wishy-washy, sit on it. As is most M. Night Shyamalan projects, digest, process, and come back, because I would love to hear your thoughts. I think it would very much be a much higher film in M. Night's catalog compared to his other works, but I would always love to hear what you thought. What is your favorite M. Night Shyamalan film? Mine very much is Signs. Let me know though, guys. I love you all so very much. Thank you guys so much. I got a very special video planned coming out soon. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and remember,